Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Super excited to be with you. As you know, Thursday nights are our new nights, and so new, in fact, that I actually forgot that I was doing a show tonight. But super excited to be here. Lots of stuff to talk about. Like I said it right there, I'm selling. So let's talk about the fact that I'm selling. Give me just 1 second here. Want to make sure. Hold on 1 second here. All right. So, guys, super excited to be here with you. Sorry about that. Like I said, Thursday night, this is the new night and time and when we're doing this thing. And super excited to be here with you guys. But like I said, it is absolutely crazy. You guys saw the interview that I did with Zoob and with Dion. I still think I'm going to get it. I still think I have a chance for that. And if you're one of the dopes trolls that's reading or that's writing in the comments, price, then learn how to pay attention and listen. Your comprehension's not there. I've not ever talked about average price. I've talked about median price. They're two completely different things. Here's why they're completely different. Median means middle. So if there's 100 transactions, that middle price going up or going down is based on the number of transactions that are happening on each side of it. But my theory has been for the last 18 months, and I think I'm still right. If you look at last year, I barely missed. It was 8.1%, and I said 10% from its peak. So now here's the good news. We have a new peak. That's the good news. We have a new peak. So the new peak means that it's got to go further down. Sure, it does. But it also means that it can. So I think that there's a lot of things moving. And what I'm seeing specifically in these markets is I'm telling you, it used to be 80% of tenants were, kind of not very good at all. And 10% or excuse me, 70% of tenants were not very good at all. 20% were pretty good and livable. And then you had the next 5%, which was a great tenant, long-term, 700 credit score, 4 or 5x income. And then you had that next tier up, which was the final 5%. And that final 5% was an 800 credit score, but you never really had them for very long because you knew they were going to buy a house. So those were people that wasn't really overly impressed with, I don't particularly like 800 credit scores. Quite frankly, I feel the same way about 800 credit scores as I do about 500 credit scores. Quite frankly, based on experience, about 4,000 tenant years, I can tell you that the 8s are just as big of a pain in the ass as the 5s. So, which is really interesting because it doesn't really translate into life. But anyway, I digress. As we look at it, and I think what's really kind of most interesting, hold on 1 quick second. This is actually a message from my famous and amazing attorney. Yes. Okay. So what's really very interesting is as I continue to watch the market, now that 70% and 30% or 20% that are really good and are a great fit, and then the final 10%, what shifted is now it's nothing like that. It's closer to 85% are kind of garbage tenants, and they're moving because their landlord hates them. They hate their landlord because all of these different reasons, but largely speaking, the tenant pool is getting worse. It's getting much more muddied waters. And so, excuse me, what's interesting about that is as we continue to get much more muddy waters, sorry, I had a hat on and I took it off. As we get these much more muddy waters, I think you guys are going to see it. It's going to take longer to rent your property. Here's the great news. We cover that in the course. If you've taken the course, we know how to write the best ad possible. The best ad possible. That's going to give you an edge over your competition. We talk about the upgrades that you want to be doing in your units to make you a better option than your competition. This is what it is. It's about getting an edge. I always tell people, I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you. That's what competition is when you are a landlord. You don't need to outrun the bear or the market. You just need to outrun your competition, because people don't just stop renting. The bad tenants become more and more and more prevalent. And what you have to be doing is outrunning your competition to the good tenants. How do you do that? It's by curating a better experience. Let's start at the beginning. It's by getting them to answer the ad because you wrote it well, because you have the points in the ad that say everything that needs to be said, and in a way that it is actually enticing people. Guys, companies wouldn't spend billions and trillions of dollars on advertising if they didn't think it moved the needle for them. That's how it works. So that ad is your advertising. It is you talking about your unit in a market where you're trying to get that market, or where you're trying to get that unit rented. That's the key, right? So you're trying to get that unit rented. You need to be presenting it to the market as best as you possibly can, which gives you an advantage over all of your competition. That is the win. Now, the second piece of this is, great, I've got their interest. I've piqued their curiosity. Now they're having a conversation with me. Now I need to go to the next level. What's the next level? Very simple. The next level is I've curated an experience when it comes to the unit that they like. They're like, oh, it has these extras. It has this better stuff. Oh, I like this over here. Oh, that's very cool. I hadn't seen that before in a rental unit. Things like USB outlets. How much do you think it costs to put those things in, guys? You hire an electrician for a couple of hours and he can put 6 or 8 of them in your place. Differentiator. Now I've curated a better experience than my competition. I've paid attention to the details. I don't have $22 boob lights hanging in my living room. I actually have a nice big elegant LED with a dimmer switch. These are the things that you've heard of, death by 1,000 cuts. Well, this is building by 1,000 blocks. We're building a better and curating a better experience than your competition. That's why you're going to win. That's why you're going to be in a position where your unit rents first. I don't need to outrun the bear. I only need to outrun you. Welcome to it, bear meat, because that's what you're going to be. So we are in a position now where this has never been more important in curating that experience. So I'm seeing the market shift. I'm seeing a bunch of these deadbeat tenants. I'm having Section 8 tell me no on one particular unit because they think it's too busy of a street. I had 3 people say that. I was like, okay. Market's higher than Section 8. Why do you think, what? I'll rent it to the market. You don't need to rent it. And guess what? They do nothing but piss and moan and bitch and complain. Fuss, 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 fuss. Dude, your rent gets paid for you. Shut up. And it doesn't mean you need to live in a dump. These places have my cabinets, butcher block counters, all brand new appliances, LVP floors, completely done, all the windows, everything is done. And they think they should be living in some A-class neighborhood. Newsflash, get a job, and then you can rent wherever you'd like. But until then, you're only going to get what the market feels you should. And that's how that's going to roll. So let's talk about the fact of what this stream is actually about. I'm selling. Yeah, I'm selling. Am I selling everything? Hell no. Then I got nothing to do. Nothing to do if I sell. So what do I got to do? I'm not selling everything, but I am strategically weeding out through my portfolio. Now, most of you aren't of the size where you're weeding things out. I got it. However, I'm the kind of guy that you want to know, because when I weed out, I'm actually probably going to sell you the best asset that you have or close to it. The reason why is I look through my portfolio and I say, hey, I've done this and I've done that, and these units are fantastic, and these are my real absolute winners, and they just flow for me all the time, and this is the easy stuff. But you know what? Then I have a couple of units where I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to do something bigger. I kind of want to do something big. I kind of want to put, what I'm doing now is I'm building up a war chest of, I want over 7 figures sitting in an account, cash, not the same account. But I want 7 figures sitting there in an account. What am I going to do with that? I'm going to deploy it when I start to see inefficiencies in the market. I'm not going to say crash because I don't believe a crash is coming. Correction, sure. But what I'm mostly looking for is I'm mostly looking for a correction in the market. And I'm looking for inefficiencies. Those inefficiencies are what I told you guys about 2 years ago. I told you 2 years ago, you should be buying small multifamily 2, 3s, and 4s. And the reason I told you that, even though everybody else is like, oh, unless it's 16 units, it's just a waste of time. Oh, anything less than 6, I would never even touch. Then don't. Then don't. I'm more than happy to buy those assets because you know what? Those assets are the most tried and true of any of the assets, period. Do you know why? It's because there's inefficiency there. Median single family house where I am, 440,000. Yep. Median duplex where I am, 600,000. What would you rather have? A median single family house at 440 where your rents might be $3,000 a month? Or would you rather have a duplex at $600,000 where, yeah, your rents aren't $3,000 a month, but you know what they are? They're 27, 26, maybe. So would you rather have an asset that you have a mortgage on at 440, or would you rather have an asset that you're doing 5,200 instead of 3,000 a month rent, 5,200 for only 160 grand more? Yeah, that's right. It's just math, my man. It's just math. And we all know I love math. I love math. Suck at spelling. Love math. But this is the stuff that we need to be looking at. We need to be focused on value. We need to be focused on the riches being in the niches. And those niches are undervalued assets. That's what I got so good at and how I got wealthy. I looked at undervalued assets. Other people weren't doing the math and they're just like, oh no, we're going to buy single family homes and that's all we're going to buy because they're the most resilient. No, they aren't. No, they aren't. Factually speaking, they aren't. The biggest issue that you have is that almost every single chart that's out there, you know what it tracks? Large multifamily or small single family. That's what it tracks. Duplexes, tris, and quads, that's not an easy market to track. However, look in your market. Are they in every market? Nope, but they're in a lot of markets. Some of them are in bad areas. Some of them aren't in bad areas. Some of them are in B or C class areas, which is exactly where you want to be anyway. So I'm selling because I look at it and say, I've got some assets right now that I'd like to create a big bankroll. I've got a ton of equity untapped in these assets. Does it make sense to take out a HELOC on picking up $150,000 on that asset at 8% or 9%? Right? Does it? No, not really. It makes sense to let's unearth all of the equity, not some of it, all of it. I believe in a correction coming. My actions speak just as loudly as my words. I'm doing the work, but I'm changing. My market is shifted. And what has shifted about my market? Hold on one second. I think I need to plug in my phone before it dies. But what has really shifted in my market? It's what we've always talked about. It's the fact that there's inefficiencies there in the 2, 3s, and 4s. The single families now are at that medium price. They never cash flow when it comes to single family homes and cash flowing as rentals, unless you've got like a 50% LTV. Dead money is just that. Call it what it is. It's dead money. So yeah, I'm selling some of these assets to create $1 million bankroll. Now, that's probably going to be, I'm selling some assets that I've owned for a real long time, and I'm not 1031ing them. I'm literally cashing out, and I'm cashing out because I don't mind paying the capital gains. Quite frankly, with my tax structure, it's probably going to help wipe that out anyway, because in case you hadn't heard, I don't have a job. So as we start to look at this, what we really need to understand is if you're not that landlord that's big enough where you're shedding some assets, be the landlord that's looking to work with a landlord like me that's grabbing a hold of those assets that I'm shedding. Do you know what the returns are on the one that I'm getting rid of? Even with the person buying it, I actually have one of them under contract. I got 2 houses under contract in the last 2 days. They're 2 out of the 5 that I'm selling. And what was 2 out of the 5? No, 2 out of the 4. 2 out of the 5. It is 5. So 2 out of the 5. And so we're under contract. But one of the deals that we're looking at, right? It's a great asset for the buyer. It's a great asset. House hack. The rent upstairs in the duplex pays almost the entire mortgage and expenses. It might be $400. That means that person is going to live there for $400. The market for that unit, Section 8, is $1,970. That means he's going to live there for about $1,600 a month, less than what it actually costs. What's he going to do? I said, pay yourself the rent every single month. Just what the market rent is, pay yourself that market rent every single month. Guess what happens in a year? In a year, you have $20,000 almost. You've got, just under $20,000. Here's the good news. Now you have another deposit for another house hack. This is how I did it. 9 and 13 years. Everybody else thinks they're crushing it because they did 3. And that's not a slight at Dion. That's a slight at somebody else. You didn't do it because you did 3. That's a poser number. I did 9 and 13 years. You guys can do it too. But again, even if this were an asset that somebody were purchasing, the income there on a monthly basis is over $5,000. It's over $5,000 gross income. The net income, I mean, do the math on what that can get you for a mortgage. I think at I think at 7 points, and if you put everything in there, I want to say all expenses all in, with 20% down, or like 20, maybe $2,500 with taxes, you're making $2,500 on a deal right now. That number's insane. But there's inefficiencies there in the market, because guess what? That thing won't appraise for a whole lot more than what I'm selling it for. But the cash flow is there, enough to choke a donkey. But as we go through all these different machinations of what's going on in the market, yeah, I'm selling, but I'm strategically selling. There's certain assets that I want to get rid of. There's certain assets, and what the commonality of all of the assets are that I'm selling -1? All the assets that I'm selling -1, they're all of my single family homes. I'm selling every single one of them, because I believe that median minus market, where most of this stuff is, I believe that median minus market is tapped out. I think it's tapped out. And so I think those things are going to sell. And I think when those things actually sell, guess what? When those things actually sell, and I think that we'll have, so 2 are under contract. We have 1 more that will go to market this month. We have 1 that will go to market next month. And then we have 1 that will go to market at the very beginning of September, if everything kind of pans out, I think, on that one. But these are the things that you guys really need to consider, right? Is that we're going to create that cash flow. Maybe that asset goes up, maybe it goes down, but I can tell you what's really capped. My rents are capped in those single family houses, because now we're getting into the range where if people have 3 or 5% down, they can go buy a house. The rents there have gotten too expensive. They're not conducive to anything other than families. So they're tapped. They're capped. That thing's not going any higher. If it were a rooming house or something like that, well, guess what? I'm not selling those, but I'm selling the other stuff. So what I would tell you to do is continue to look at, right? Continue to look at your assets as you continue to go through this process. And as you continue to go through this process, recognize that you need to be, your network is your net worth. Continue to be around people, because I think nothing of, I'm not emotionally attached to my 52 buildings. I'm not. Am I sitting there freaking out going, what am I going to do? I'm going to be under 50 buildings. What am I going to do? That's my identity. It's not. My identity is that I'm a great asset manager. That's the identity. I run an amazing business. That's the identity. When it comes to being a businessman, that's the identity, is I run an amazing business. And these assets, they're just that. They're assets. They're nothing more. So we're trading, we're moving, we're getting rid of this, we're getting rid of that. We're going to trade up into this. We'll do some 1031s. We'll do some pure cash. I already did one that was seller financing. In the last 12 months, I seller financed a $1 million building. And I'm the bank. I'm just getting the payments. It's awesome. Let me tell you. So be around other landlords, be around other bigger landlords. You can always learn something from them. Number 1. Number 2 is you want them getting rid of their assets to you. Ask the question. Guess how I decided to sell this other building? I was just like, you know what? Geez. Somebody said, yeah, I'm kind of looking for one. I go, okay. And then I thought about it, and he was like, yeah, I'm not really sure I'm interested anymore. I was like, that's okay. That's okay. I've got somebody that I know is going to be interested because it fits their model perfectly. How do I know that? because I know what their model is. I know what they like to buy. I know what they rent. I know what I know where their assets are. I know where they're a landlord. This is a perfect fit for that buyer. I'm excited for that buyer because that buyer is going to get far more money off this property than I ever did. But it's time for me to get the rest of my equity out of that asset and put it to work somewhere else because I'm thinking bigger. I want $1 million bankroll. I want $1 million bankroll from the selling of these assets. I want $1 million bankroll. Some of that stuff's going to have to be 1031, but I want that $1 million bankroll because that's going to give me a lot of flexibility over the next 18 months when I believe that there's going to be some real bargains in the market, just like I've been talking about. I told you down at the end of this year, median pricing down 10%, but that's on single family homes. What I'm looking for is that's where the cold starts and then the flu starts to get through the system. Commercial real estate, yeah, that's going to be a nightmare for sure. But that stuff's going to be for largely bigger guys. And quite frankly, a lot of them are going to be going to much bigger players than me. I just need to pick my spots. Riches are in the niches, guys. Riches are in the niches. And I'm just trying to get into that next niche. I'm just trying to get in and wedge. What is that next niche? I can tell you, I'm looking for assets that are undervalued. It's the Moneyball effect. If you haven't seen the movie Moneyball, I strongly encourage you. It's the Moneyball effect. And Tracy, I see your piece now. There are no bargains in any areas right now. There aren't any bargains. They're off-market deals. They're seller finance deals. Those are the deals that you can actually do something with in this market. The challenge, hold on one second. I just have to see this. Cool. That was actually an update on the contract that we just entered into yesterday. There are no real bargains on the market unless you're creating the deals for yourself. That's the way it is. I created a deal for myself 60 days ago. I got a 4-unit for $750,000, 10% down at 5% money for 10 years. Would you take that deal on any of the assets that you're shopping for? Of course you would. Those numbers and percentages, of course you would. But that deal was created through relationship and through understanding the market and through doing that work. You'll find them, but there are no bargains out there. I don't like buying from wholesalers. Those properties need too much work. Sometimes they do. Maybe you're doing with the wrong wholesalers. But again, need too much work. There's no such thing in my vocabulary. The times that I've made the most amount of money was when there was the most amount of work to be done. Cat pee. Collapsing foundation walls. Dead furnaces. Collapsing chimneys. Holes in roofs. No kitchens. All the copper stolen. Guys, that's where you make the most money. Listen, you can cookie cutter it all you want, but if you're going to buy turnkey, guess what? Your margins are going to be this big. And there's a reason I made a hole so small you can't really see through it. They're going to be infinitesimally small. One value add project compared to the way that I do it and compared to what my friends and competition are doing, it's like them buying 6 turnkeys. 6. They got to do 6 transactions to my 1 because I'm buying value add. Do it however you want. I got rich. That's how I did it. And there's still the way to do it today. Terry, you're exactly right. Sweat equity. Tracy, cat pee and foundations. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no just means no, no, no money. Yes, yes, yes means back up that truck. Let's hear it. Boop, boop. Let's hear it. Back up the truck. That's what we're talking about with value add. Value add makes people millionaires. Don't overdo it. Don't do too many at once. Do one, get it stable, then get it optimized, just like the course teaches, and you will be much further ahead. Good for you, Jackie. I love that. I love buying bad foundation stuff. Love it. Love it. Do you know why? The seller is mortified. Oh, bad foundation. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Bad foundation. Yeah, because no foundation's ever been fixed before. What? Of course. And don't you think that when you get the quote for $10 or $12 or $15,000, that they're mortified and that all these other people know that it's mortified? Of course they are. Tracy, some of those properties are mini pits, but that's where you get good at this. That's where you get good at this. If you're good at this, no such thing. No such thing. I love it. I love this stuff. This is how I get wealthy. I embraced it. All these other people ran the other way. Punks. I got in there and I did. I was a doer. Because over time, it always worked out over time. So you need time, you need runway, you need cash that you can tap into, all of these things. So let's jump into some questions because we need to get to some questions. Tracy, I feel like I'm having a conversation with just you. Tracy, I'm telling you these things for a reason. And you may hate it and you may never want to do it. And that's completely okay. But I know that people will get richer far faster if they do value-added properties at a slow and measured pace, and they work to understand what they are doing. That's the people that get wealthy. That's it. Everyone likes to talk about year 23 with me, right? With 52 buildings. The first 10 years were 10 buildings, maybe 12. Dion had almost as many. I think Dion maybe even had more units than I did. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. But I can tell you that journey, and I can tell you the biggest differences made along the way were buying undervalued assets, mispriced assets, because people didn't know how to properly account for what the actual returns are. And that's the showstopper. Josh Burdick, hello, sir. Good to have you here. Janitor and Fire, good to have you. Basilio, good to have you. The Yoder, master owner operator. I am unable to stay the whole session. 4 a.m. comes early. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're here even for the time that you are. I'll see you in future land. Rob Fernelli, hello, Matt. Hello, sir. BuzzTune, good to see you, sir. Boomer, hey, Matt, did you get that email about the Lambo? I did see the email about the Lambo. Admittedly, I am wicked far behind on emails and messages and everything. I am so stinking far behind right now. It's really been crazy because I'm managing the jail project. I'm managing another 5-unit complete regut. I had a couple contractors back out and punk out on me, which I absolutely drove me bonkers. On top of that, we're then getting 5 properties ready to go. Five. And I'm like, nope, this is the time. So 1 got on the market, finished, got on the market. Now it's under agreement. The second one got it ready. It didn't even go to market. Boom. It's under agreement. We're actually, like I said, we're going to hit the next one. We're finishing up the next one right now. We should have that one on by the end of the month. Then we have another one that maybe is going to be maybe a week behind that. And then that one's going to be on the market. And then we've got about 4 to 5 more weeks after that. And we've got a 5th one that's going to hit the market. Guys, I haven't done the math yet, but I think, let's see, what are we going to generate in cash there? Or what are we going to generate in just an overall gross sales? I don't know what my net's going to be, but overall in gross sales, 350, 4 and a quarter, so 775, 4 and a quarter, so 775, so 1.2 million. The next one is going to be about 3 and a quarter, so 1.525 million. And the next one's going to be about 4 and a quarter. So, under 2 million bucks, I'd say. And I don't know what the net is going to be on that, but we're selling properties we're going to sell almost $2 million worth of properties. Yep. In the next 60 days. That's the goal. So we'll see what we can do. And there might be another asset that might trade outside of that too. Don't know. So yes, Boomer, I did get your email. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so far behind on email and social media. I promise I'll catch up. I just had to get all these things under contract and then get through the inspection phases. And then life will shift and change a little bit for me, but it's been more than a little bit nuts. Joshua Milley, have you listened to Coach's chat with the lawyer? I did. Curious your thoughts since you don't use LLCs. He brought up some scenarios that I hadn't considered. I did listen to a part of it, but all due respect, I think Coach is awesome. The parts that I heard from the lawyer, if you have a specific part, it might've been a part I didn't hear about. I just know what they are as assets. I know what they are as entities, the LLCs as entities. I have an LLC, but it's for a very specific use. It's so I can get the healthcare that my daughter needs. And so we had to employ one person so we could get the healthcare that we needed for my family. So I have an LLC for that purpose, but I still don't buy assets in the LLC. My trust and insurance strategy is far better than any LLC is going to be. And I don't want to have all these nested LLCs. Kohler is awesome. Love watching Mark Kohler, but I am not Pace Morby. Don't want to be Pace Morby. Not interested in having that big of a machine. And he has something like 97 nested LLCs. That stresses me out, makes me tired. I want to just enjoy my life. I promise you, I spend far more time with my kids by the pool than pretty much anybody else I know. And that's what I did it for. That's why I retired from my job. And so I'm positioning things for me. I'm positioning things for the next few years where I'm going to be able to buy into a bunch more stuff that I want to buy into. And if I don't, I don't. Because I can tell you this, the deals that I'm going to do are the best deals anybody's going to see. Those are the deals I'm going to do because that's the deals I can do. And I don't need anything more. He brought up some scenarios that I hadn't considered. Josh put some down in there. I'm happy to speak to him. Jackie, good evening. Good to catch you live here in Putnam Valley, New York. Jackie, great to have you. Appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. Also, your locks were on sale at Home Depot this week for $29. Have you told Dion why he's wrong and not liking them yet? Dion doesn't want to listen. Dion doesn't want to listen. He needs to spend that $15,000 a month of net income. So he has no problem spending 5x on those locks. And the fact that he had trouble with them amazes me because Millennial Mike put them on his units and hasn't had an issue. And I have them on 200 doors and we replace maybe one a year. Just saying, just numbers. Old REI guy, what's going on, Frank? Good to see you, my friend. Jason Calcebetta, hello, Matt and everyone. Hello, Josh, hello. Robert Farinelli, questions about listings and showings. Third floor is very hot. During a showing, best way to cool down a unit and not make it look bad. Best idea is to keep window open, ACs running will raise eyes. Yeah, but I think that, so what I would do is, prep probably, you have to figure out what that prep time is. But I think opening windows and putting fans where they're not blowing in, but they're blowing out. What you want to do is you want to get air moving there. And so that's how you get air moving there. And if you're complaining and showing the place, they're going to complain and living there. So you probably have something to address there. But like I said, what I would probably do is if you have ceiling fans, I'd have those going and moving air. Number one. Number two is I'd have ACs on. Number three is I'd be going early and getting a couple of those $20 Tasco fans in the windows and get them circulating the air where you're just having it, where you open up the window, you put the thing in there and you have it blowing all the air out. And yeah, does it mean it's going to blow your cold air out? Yeah, it means it's going to suck that and blow it out. However, what it's also going to do is it's going to get that air circulating. It's going to get the space filled with that cold air. And more importantly, it's going to get that heat sink out of that. But yeah, that's what I would do. Good evening, Matt and everyone. Hey, Chester. Jason Santoro, I know I saw you. I'm so sorry. I'm just so unbelievably far behind. Tomorrow, hold on. Tomorrow morning, I will get to your messages, and there's 3 or 4 others too. Boomer, some others. So I'm really sorry, guys, on my messaging. The week blew up when those 2 deals went under contract, and then we missed a couple big dates with a couple contractors pulling out on deals. I kid you not. I probably should do a video on it. I had a contractor set up. They delayed me once. They delayed me twice. They delayed me a third time. Typically for me, that third strike is you're out, but they said, hey, we had a family issue. I was a nice guy. I'm kind of I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. That sucks. That's too bad. All right. I can wait another couple of weeks. And then I hit them in a couple of weeks. They didn't answer. I hit them 4 days later. They finally answered back and said, we just can't take on the project now. I'm like, that's a bunch of bullshit. I was like, when you delay me 3 months, you kind of owe it to me at that point to do the project and do it for the price that you said you would. So I had to quickly scramble. I got 3 other contractors in, got 3 other bids, and I'm waiting for the last bid, or I'm getting 3 other bids. I'm waiting for the last bid to come in, which I think is going to be the cheapest. So yeah. So guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry on the social media. It's also summertime with the kids too. So I'm trying to make sure I'm getting time with each of them. So yeah, I've been slacking on social. You guys know how much I hate it, but I love you guys. So I apologize. I apologize for that. I'm at and buying the dump trailer, and that's been a whole fiasco, and I'll cover that in another video. Key surprises live. Yes. So this is the new live time, guys. 9 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. This is the new live time. No more Sundays. No more Sundays. We capped out on Sundays. We capped out. We would get 60, 70 people. But the problem is it would be a lot of people. Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoons are a lot of family time. Thursday nights, no one has a life that's here right now. You can be here. Let's hang out. Let's spend time together. Let's have community. I'm just going to say here, your ad style in your, I'm just in your course failed me. Then you're doing it wrong. It works everywhere. I would love to see how it failed you. Put in the notes. Tell me how it failed. Tell me how it failed. I want to see it. Because I'm still getting 4x the number of eyes that all of my competition is getting. 4x. Some of them have had units on the market for 60 days. Not me. So it's there. Wealth building journey. Love it. I don't need to outrun the fastest person. I need to outrun the slowest person. Yes. There's your bear meat. True story. Hey, Dylan. Good to see you. Jason. Yes. Messages. Yes, sir. Property performance review. Yes, absolutely. BuzzTune. There he is. But at the same time, I need to rent the unit quickly. Don't have time or money to do all your upgrades. Understood. But so one of the biggest indicators is you could be overpriced. Your asset could not be as nice. Rent boxing it. You got to rent box it. That's the purpose of the rent box. The ad does and performs. It's not the ad's fault. Like I have one person I worked with and I said, she's like, the ad's not working. And then I look at the pricing. She's the highest in the market and she's not even in the top 15% for assets. Guys, water finds its level, but the idea is you need to outrun your competition. That's what you have to do. If your asset isn't as nice, then why should it rent for more money? People are still people. The idea is you get many more at bats with my ads. That's what happens. It's more at bats. And that is why they call it, when you're an executive for a software company, you talk about asses and elbows. There's no replacement for displacement. That's what engine guys talk about when they say, yeah, an 8.1 liter motor versus a 4.0 liter motor, the 8.1 liter motor with all that extra displacement, that absolutely is going to have a lot more pulling power than that 4 liter motor. That's how it goes. So rent box is a critical part of that. Show me that you did a complete rent box on all of your competition. Show me that you are properly priced based on where everyone else is currently priced. And I also said, I know that market, not a great market. I don't love that market because this is what happens when times start to get bad. But I still believe that my ad gets far more eyeballs. Factually speaking, it does, because I know it has for me. And you don't have to do all the upgrades, but what you do have to have an understanding of, every single apartment doesn't need to be upgraded every single time. As I've said since day one, I have C class, B class, A class assets. We have clean and safe. We have clean, safe, and upgraded. We have clean, safe, and updated. One of them is gutting to the studs. One of them is just doing lipstick stuff. Where you have to be, and this is where most people get it wrong, is you have to properly assess what the market is, what the pricing is around that. I have assets that might be a lot nicer than a lot of other people, but in the area that it's in, it might be no parking. It might be that everyone knows that that's a bad area. There's other things you have to account for. That's why when you find some places in those D areas or in those really bad areas, they sell discounted. Why do they sell discounted? Because there's so much turnover there, and you'll typically read their rent chart and you'll see, oh yeah, you're kind of patchy on the rents here for 3 years. 1 year, fine. There can be that transition, but not 3 years. I just want to make sure this doesn't die. Oops, too late. It did die. All right, let me just go plug this in real quick. I got to make sure this is on. So I would say, as far as it comes from the rent box, or as far as it goes with the strategy not working, disagree. I guarantee you, look at the rent box. Send me your rent box. I'll even look at your rent box. Send me the rent box with the links to the other assets. I'll look at your rent box, because I'd be willing to bet you that it's probably overpriced. If you're not getting it rented out, it's probably overpriced compared to your competition. They're outrunning you right now. We all know what that makes somebody. Makes them bear meat. We don't want you to be bear meat. So send me that rent box. I want to see it with the links in it to your competition. Dylan, how to find reliable subs and handymen for stuff that doesn't need permits pulled. Be in the market. Yep. Be in the market. Talk to other investors. Who do they use? That's the best way to do it. What underlayment do you use under LVP? Depends on what the substrate is with this. And so if it's concrete, we use one thing. If it's wood, we use another. If it's tile floor, we use another. So it really depends on what's underneath it. How do you know frame isn't rotted when buying a place and insulated correctly? Inspection. You can check in the basement, see if there's any wet spots. You can go around tapping things in the basement. We actually take a screwdriver and I actually jab it in the joist and see if it sticks. If it sticks or it goes in, that's usually a bad thing. But yeah, that's what inspections are for. Luke Devine, looking to do more shotgun marketing approach, finding deals in Reading, Pennsylvania. When physically meeting a new owner, how do you approach asking to sell if it doesn't come up naturally? Well, I think that the idea is having just that conversation with them and just saying, hey, I'm not sure what I could ever do for you, if there's any way that I could ever help you out. But if there is, certainly let me know. It's being available to people, and offering help, offering that assistance. I don't think the conversation, I always kind of bring it up jokingly to a certain degree and just say, hey, if that day ever comes where you decide, certainly I would love the opportunity. You've clearly done an amazing job being a landlord. And I know some people, everyone has a kind of a different time frame of when they want to do what they want to do. But if it ever comes up, I would just love the opportunity. And that's how I leave it. And guess what? I got a call back this week on somebody else. Yep. You know how I found their name? I looked them up. They own a couple properties. One of them was next to me. They're a neighbor. And talked to the guy and he goes, yeah, but I'm in my 70s and I don't really think I want to do this that much longer. I said, I completely get that. I said, it is a lot of work, right? He's like, yeah, it's a lot of work. He goes, I actually way underpriced the rents just because I don't want to do the extra work. Guess what? Red flag, white flag number one, not red flag, white flag number one. Second white flag. Hey, listen, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. We're actually going to do a fence in one of these places. We're going to rip down a bunch of trees because they're all silver maples, which are just basically big tree weeds. I said, we're going to rip all that stuff down. And I said, I'm not asking for any money. I said, I'm happy to do it. I said, but I just want to make sure you're good with it. So I sent him he goes, and I said, would you mind if I sent you an email on that? So I can kind of go through the plan and tell you what I'd like to do. And then you can certainly correct me if you'd like. And so he wrote back, he goes, Matt, great to meet you. Sounds like a great plan. I'm not asking him for any money. Now, who's more than likely going to get that phone call when that guy's ready to sell? And I told him, I said, hey, here's the best part. You can still keep your income coming in. You're just seller financing. You own it outright. This puts the guy in a very unique position. So I'm going to follow up, have that stay in that conversation, but he's, kind of in the tickler file, not this tickle, but just kind of reach out and touch someone. Every 60, 90 days. Hey, just checking in on you. Hope all is good. Here were pictures of the projects. Thought you might like to see it. Doing things like that, just staying in touch. And hey, again, if you ever decide to move on, I've got this one guy for 4 years. Again, if you ever find that time comes, would love to at least have the conversation with you. That's it. That's all I got to do. Terry Balu, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Boomer, my single family homes were the biggest pain I owned. Boomer, so right. So right. The single family homes I had are a pain in the ass. They make almost no money and they have the unbelievable attitude of entitlement, richer than I've ever seen before. Well, we'd like to make this customization to the house. No, but we want to. I understand. It's not something I want done to the house. I don't want you to knock down a wall and make it bigger. I don't. That's not what I want. And it's my house. So I don't want that. So anyway. Wealth Building Journey. Also, I talked to my bean counters earlier this week and have insurance for the first rental. Everything is coming together. Chester, you measured a lot of times, my friend, but let's enjoy this journey. Don't let stuff pack up and pile up and stress you out. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. But congratulations. I'm super excited for you. Dylan, for student housing, does each tenant sign a lease? Each tenant signs the same lease. It's called joint and several liability. How to make sure a foundation is good, get it inspected or know what you're doing in construction. What are net 30 terms? It means they're going to pay in 30 days. I know, Matt, 3 and 5 years, I am not doing well. No, but we tell you all the time, the first 5 years suck. They absolutely suck. That's what's said every single time. It absolutely sucks. It's when you're living paycheck to paycheck. But the idea is you can't grow too fast. You can't grow too fast. You can't do a deal every single year in a lot of cases. You can't grow too fast. Get your feet underneath you. Get things rented. Even if they're a little bit under market, still get them rented. Make sure you're cash flowing. Get it stabilized, then get it optimized. Stabilization doesn't always mean doing projects. Stabilization means make sure what you have there is operational, functional, and working. And sometimes curating an experience of clean and safe is all you really need to do. We have clean and safe units. We have units that don't have brand new cabinets in them. They have the old ugly wood ones, plywood, made in place. We have some of those units. We have few of those units, but we do have some because we want to make sure that we're touching all of the different asset classes in our area. There will be trade down. They're in nicer neighborhoods or nice neighborhoods. So when people trade down to them, it's still a nice neighborhood, but the asset is old and dated, but it's clean and safe. Old and dated, clean and safe. I want clean and safe. And that means that we can afford to do those for Section 8, or we can afford to do those, affordable housing a little bit more expensive than Section 8, but a market tenant. Fire Nice, good evening. Good evening. Good to see you. Good Wealth with Rentals. Good evening, Matt and everyone. Good evening. Terry, no joke, LL. You are a great example of what to do in real estate. 55 buildings is awesome. Thanks for sharing the success, Terry. My pleasure. It's only 52, but I appreciate the thinking kindly of me and that I will get to 55. What's really funny is I'm going to hit 48 before I hit 55. So yeah, I'm cutting back. I'm getting rid of some of the assets to then be better positioned to get into some more. In one of the deals that I just did, that person owns 12 other doors. I think it's 4 other buildings or 5. It's either 4 or 5 more buildings. I believe I'm going to be the buyer for a lot of those buildings. And that couldn't have happened without the first one. So what did I make the first deal? I was so agreeable. I was like water. I was so agreeable because I would just go wherever he needed me to go. If it was really a big deal, I said something, but outside of that, I didn't, because I wanted his experience with me as a buyer to be awesome. I wanted him to say, oh yeah, guess what he said at the closing table? Well, I'll certainly keep you posted with any of the other ones that I decide to do something with. Thank you. I really appreciate that. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? You guys are going to do your first off market deal before I did. It took me 15 years to get an off market deal. 15. You're going to do it faster than that because now it's a thing. It wasn't a thing. Off market deals weren't a thing in the early teens. They just weren't. Now they are. Now you can do it. Landlord Odyssey, glad you didn't totally forget about me. I'm glad you're here. Tracy, wow, this is the same. This is my same feelings I have right now. Single family rentals don't cash flow anymore unless you make it a rooming house. Or I don't know. Yeah, largely speaking, but I never liked single family anyway. That's why I have 52 buildings and I only had 4 single families. That's why I had it that way. And again, one of them was a very specific deal. Another one was bundled in. Another one I bought 20 something years ago. And my family's too big to use it. It's on the water. You guys saw my live on that. It's too big. It's too small to use for my family. So it's like, okay, now we're going to get rid of that. So yeah, I mean, it's not like I went out and bought these assets thinking I was going to be this big rental power with these assets. One I bought for a flip, that's happening. One I bought with a very special situation, that's happening. One I bought as part of a package, that's why that one's going. And then the other one was the other one was the one I bought 20 years ago. No bargains in my area on MLS either. None. They're all extremely overpriced. But they should be. The income is there, even at 7%. Tracy, I don't like buying from wholesalers. Those properties need too much work. Hey, the riches are in the niches. If you're just looking for turnkey or for, I just want to buy a unit that I don't have to do anything with. Yeah, so does everybody. That makes the unit far more marketable and more desirable to a lot more people. And there's plenty of people that are getting out of assets where they have a ton of equity where they can then buy those things. And a lot of them are being bought for cash. Jackie, I love that you spoke of seller finance. Thanks, Jackie. Absolutely. Tracy, no cat pee, no foundations. No. Yes. Rich. Terry, sweat equity. I agree. Fire and Ice. We practically steal properties that have been burned out when Mr. Fire and Ice, myself, rehab them. We are 5 in 5 years. See, found a model that works and you continue to run it. I love it. Jackie, put in an offer on a place with a bad foundation. Love that. As you do it longer and longer, you understand what the value or cost of that foundation can be. But here's what I can tell you. I got a bank to take $100,000 off because it had a legit mold problem, like literally mold throughout the entire house. I was planning on gutting it anyway. What did I care? I got them to take $100,000 pay cut. $100,000. I was going to gut the thing anyway. The actual mold cleanup before we then gutted it was like a few $1,000. It was nothing. It was a rounding error. Some of those properties are money pits. I disagree. There are plenty of properties that are money pits if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, a good property can turn into a money pit because you don't know what you're doing. So that's what I'm really focused on. Rob, ta-da. Okay, what are we talking about? Rob. We were talking about you the first hour, or actually the first 45 minutes. Jackie, thank you. You make me smile. I'm glad. That's sometimes the feeling that people have. Other times they have a feeling of cursing me. Probably like Robert. He probably wants to curse me right now. He's probably pissed at what I said. I know he can take it. He's been in boot camps. I know he can do it. I know it's hard. But you got to take what the defense is giving you. And the market, if you're doing your rent box and that market is telling you something and you're ignoring it, you need to switch it up. And that means if you overestimate a rent needs to come down because you need to get that asset rented, get it rented. The difference between, think about it this way, to go from $2,300 to $2,000. If you don't rent it for 1 month, that's $3,600, right? And the difference in rents. But instantly $2,300 gets taken off that 36. Now it's only $1,300 more you're going to make it. And that's if you rent it the next month. So get units rented. Vacancy does hurt, but you shouldn't be so convicted that you have to get that number. The market's telling you otherwise. Usually you can find that inefficiency that is being identified by it not being rented. Usually you can find that inefficiency in the market. You can usually find it in the market. And what I mean by that is rent box. Look at your rent box compared to your competition. They might have reduced their price because they were tired of sitting on the market. And guess what? They're not bear meat. That's how it goes. Tracy, but you got the skills to do all that stuff. I don't. I haven't been in a build. I haven't done those repairs like consistently on a project for 17 years. Can I do them? Sure. But you know what I know is most important? I know how to do them and how that should be priced. That's a far more valuable asset because very, very, very few people are out there with a chop saw putting in trim and putting in windows. That's not what the Lumberjack Landlord course specifically talks about. Here's the things that you identify and experience. Here's the things that you can potentially do yourself. But if you don't do them yourself, here's the idea of how to properly get those things priced so you understand the cost of those things getting done. I'm not out there hanging windows or hanging doors. I mean, at this point now, for well over a decade, do I jump in every now and again here and there to do something to get something across the goal line? Sure, of course. Not saying that I don't do anything, but I do very, very, very little when it comes to actually hands-on in the field, actually staying there on a job site doing the work all day. It doesn't really happen. Much more now, it's more strategic where I'm understanding the assets, understanding the work that needs to be done, getting things quoted out, understanding what the scope of work needs to be, understanding what the materials cost. Those are areas that all of us can do. You don't have to be the one in your unit doing whatever, jackhammering a floor. You don't have to. Kadia 14. Can you remind me of the person in Pittsburgh with properties? Couldn't find her on Facebook. Yes. Sophie Elaine. You will find her on Facebook if you look. Sophie Elaine. SOPHIE ELAINE. Elaine. Sophie Elaine. She's there. If you can't find her, Kadia 14, let me know, but you'll find her there in Facebook. I'm positive. She's all over the place. Dan Caruso, great info as always. Love the new time. Dan, I'm so happy to hear you say that. I love the new time. Big fan. What's a cash account? Dylan. Cash account's a cash account. It's an account you have cash in. How do you keep contractors on the correct time schedule? Being present and making sure that you've removed the barriers, that they have the things that they need. The less you do, the more expensive they're going to be. So I like to tell them, hey, just like I talk about my course, I'll buy the materials for you guys. Give me a list of what you need. I'm happy to pay you to put the list together. Give me a list of what you need, and I'll make sure that it's here the day you're ready to start. That's what I do, because that reduces the amount of drag in any deal, because I've set them up to win. They're showing up. Do you think that they're professionals at ordering? Do you think they're professionals at picking out product? No, what they're professionals at doing is installing that stuff. So my job is to make them be the professionals that they are and focus where they're good, not focus on other stuff. That's the idea. Come on, Financial Freedom Journey. Hello, all. Hello. Good to have you here. Welcome to the channel. Unless you change your name, and then welcome, and still happy to have you here. Dylan, what do you like to use recovery companies for? What all do you like to use recovery companies for electrical and plumbing? I don't know what a recovery company is. Do you have to pay contractors up front for permits? I usually take the permit out myself, or I pay for it up front because I want them knowing that I know, and the town knowing that they know that I know. Ever looking for mechanical engineers as property developers? Just asking. CF. Mechanical engineers as property developers. Ever looking for mechanical engineers as property? I don't build anything that's big enough for a mechanical engineer. I would love to maybe do that someday. But not that I can think of. The only thing that we've ever done is structural engineering work, and we do so little of it that we just outsourced it the half a dozen times we've done it ever. Matt Bittner, lumberjack landlord, when all else fails when it comes to trying to find the heirs for the house, what do you do? Hire a private investigator? What have you done? Yes, I've hired a private investigator. Yep, that's exactly what I've done. As luck would have it, I actually have one under contract with a lease. I have commercial assets, and guess what they're filled with? A massage therapist that I can literally call and say, hey, I need to get on your table. Sounds good. When do you want to do it? Tomorrow, the next day. I get there quickly. Massage therapist. I have a homeopath under lease. I have a private investigator under lease. I have, this one doesn't really count, but I have a congressman. That doesn't really do me any good. But I have a congressman. What else? Yeah. So I rent out my commercial assets to people that I might need. Yep. Building a network. I also know what all my tenants do. So I will ask them for help. I have 400 tenants. There's pretty much almost every job represented in there. I have one that's a kitchen installer. I have one that's a insulation installer. Yeah. Yep. We have a bunch all the way through the process. Housing specialist, housing voucher specialist. How's one of those? Yep. That way, when I have questions or need something, I can always tap on that. Yep. Robert, I love you, buddy, but send me the rent box. Let's get this. I want to fix it for you. I know that's where the gap is. I know I mispriced something. I mispriced something 2 months ago. I forgot to say that. I mispriced something 2 months ago. It was on the market for 2 weeks and we had okay flow but looking at the tenant pool, it kind of sucked. Now, agreed. Now, here's the thing. I was going for the mountaintop, dude. I was trying to get a record rent. So was I Icarus? Hey, thankfully, the wax didn't melt, but I certainly did go down for a little bit of a non-soft landing. So I missed a month, and then we knocked it down a couple $100, I think from $27.95 to maybe $25.95. And we had 2 people sign and disqualify because they lied, but that's why we checked things. And then the next set of people going in there, absolutely amazing and awesome. And they're perfect. They're perfect for the place. They're probably going to be there 3 to 5 years. And that's at $25.95. That price was right because we started getting decent people that qualified, that were a good fit, that weren't garbage. That's what happened. So send me that rent box. I want to get you across the goal line. I know we can. So yes, hire a private investigator. Yes. Steven. Hey, everyone. Hey, Steven. Dylan, how to determine on a budget what to and what not to replace? Rent box. Look at the rent box and see what everybody else's stuff looks like. And you can see, hey, I can get myself up into this group over here if I do these things. But if I get myself under that group, it's only $100 extra a month and it's like $7,000. It's probably not worth it. It's too slow of a return. However, it's like if I can spend $3,000 and I get that extra $100 a month, it's probably worth it at that point. It's got a couple year payoff. Those are the things, and you're probably getting a better tenant. So those are the things where start to determine. Robert Fiornelli, Matt is on fire tonight. The title is a lie. This is definitely a you'll be offended live stream. I know I'm aggressive, but I want you guys to succeed. Sorry, that's just the way it goes. I'd say tough love, but yeah, it's tough love. It is what it is. What's BX wire used for? BX wire is, for those of you who don't know, is instead of the wire being in a rubber jacket like Romex, it's in a metal jacket. And the reason so they put that usually in commercial application and also in shared common spaces because it's more resistant to fire and it's more protected. So people can't damage it as easily as they could a rubber jacket. Tracy, which locks? Defiant. That's what we use, the Defiant keypads. And then you use a dummy handle and you're good to go. If you have an LLC, you now need to file a beneficial owner report under the Corporate Transparency Act. Yeah. Because of when we opened it, we just have to do that by the end of the year. So yeah, you are correct. And honestly, I'm not doing it. I'm totally working with someone that's going to do it. So I understand exactly how to do it and how it's right. What type of windows do you want? Low E, argon gas, Energy Star, or Energy Star Plus? Josh Coster. How you doing, pal? Tracy. Wow, that sucks. It does suck. I made 2 videos on how to find contractors and choosing the right one in 2 parts. And I'm going to try these message on full gut property I purchased. Wealth with Rentals. I love it. I love it. That's what I want to see. People trying things. Boomer 1964. Where are the likes? That is a damn good question. Where are the likes? I can't see it. I can't see it. Can't see it. Not in this dashboard. But good question. Dylan McMahon. What's Kills? Kills is a primer that people use to hide water spots or something that maybe previously was treated for mold. It basically seals things in so they can't get through. What type of texture do you want on walls and a ceiling to have? It depends on where you are in the country. Where we are, everything is smooth. out in the West Coast, everything is rough. Everything's textured. Here, they're not. What color appliances and cabinets do you like? I like white and stainless because it's timeless, but I like the white because then I can pick whatever colors I want for counters or for backsplash or for walls. Make the white the staple, the anchor, and then decorate around it. What about cabinet handles? Colors? Nope, stainless. I want nice, clean lines. I don't want colors because you know what happens with colors? In 3 to 5 years, everyone's like, ooh, those are dated. There's no color cabinet handle that's ever lasted more than a few years that people liked. Channel 6 San Diego. Hey, Matt. Love you. Okay. Love you too. Have not commented in a long time. Sorry, really busy. Okay, I get free manufactured homes. Buy and do the work, killing it, or no or low competing. Just turned 86K into 240K. Channel 6 San Diego. I love that. I love that. And what are you doing? You're unearthing value. You found your niche. You found your niche. And what are you doing? You're finding the riches in the niches. Love it. See, 86 to 240K. You found something and you've done enough of them now where you are just putting them through the presses. And that is how it works. I'm really pumped for you. Congratulations. That's awesome. Life-changing money right there. Robert Fairnelly, ad might have been my fault. Maybe. Was under market, but I had bad, very meh pictures because I rushed the ad of the house and I was hung up on Tuesday, 4 p.m., get 50 to 100 people reply and then open house. So wait a second. Wait a tick. You had lousy pictures because I rushed the ad up. I was hung up on Tuesday, 4 p.m., get 50 to 100 people reply and open house on Saturday. Yeah. Okay. Well, fluidity. So rent box, maybe it was under market, but quality. Everything that we do, guys, has to have quality. Got to have quality. If you can take good pictures with your phone, guys, think about it this way. You can probably find a professional photographer for $200 to take pictures of your unit. If you take those pictures one time, you're done. You're done. You're done. You get to use those pictures over and over and over and over and over again, unless maybe it's 7 years later. Right? But then at that point, what was that sunk cost? You're talking about that sunk cost being $20 a year, $25 a year. If it's 7 or 8 years, right? So I get that, but remember, real talk here. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I just had this conversation with one of our contractors today. I said, listen, language coming. The whole reason this got fucked up was because you wanted to get it done by a time frame that wasn't reasonable, because you took a vacation day and you cut a day short here and you did a job somewhere else on that day. That's fine. I'm not busting your stones about that, but you should have just called me and said, hey, I'm not going to be done in time. I need an extra couple of days because I got commitments to these other things. Then guess what? It wouldn't have been a problem and you wouldn't have screwed up, and now you're going to fix the stuff on your time because I don't pay for your mistakes. Come on, guys. Come on. So, Robert, the other thing too is I get it, but you can post on the most important thing is quality. That's the most important thing. Most important thing is quality. And it's Keene, not Manchester. Okay, good. Basilio. Is it? Yes. Hey, Matt, I'm currently at 8 doors and would like to retire from my W-2 in the next 5 years. Okay. How many more doors do you think I should acquire before I say this is enough? That's 100% a personal question. And so I will give you the calculation that I used. The calculation that I used was I never wanted to have to go back to work again, number one. And so I was very, very conservative. I was very, I wanted to make sure that I had a much higher multiplier. And my life is very expensive. Dion can live life really, really well on $4,000 a month. I can't. I can't. That's not the life I want to live. I have to be able to pay for 4 kids private school. 4 kids private school. That shit's expensive, but it's worth it. And that's what I want to do for my kids because I'm not paying for college. I will pay for the best preparatory education they could possibly ever get. And the fact that my 6-year-old is reading at a 5-year-old, 5th grader level, I'm pretty happy with how the first year went. He worked on it, but they are workers and they are pushers. So yeah, I kind of like that. So when we're talking about Basilio, when we're talking about what number you need, I would look at what your life is and look at what you want to be able to do in retirement. That's the biggest key. And then add a multiplier. Our multiplier was big. It's a big number, honestly. It was a big number before I was willing to retire. And we're doing well now. Like we pay the bills, but we're not really putting anything away in savings because we're spending it all on these projects. But when these projects are done, we're going to have, $30,000 a month more of income. And we already have the expenses today. Right. So that's kind of what people need to look at, I think. So my advice to you is, I know Dion says 5X. I think 5X can be really expensive and really kind of impossible to get to when you have kids and a wife and family. Because Dion's older and single and all the kids are gone. So that's a different number. So I think what you need to do is track what you really spend for 6 months. Then look at, so what we did was I looked at all the big projects, roofs, even cars, things like that. Right. And was like, I need to have that stuff kind of ready and set. Let me just roll down and see the super chat real quick, and then I'll roll back up. Holy Toledo, you guys. Hey, Matt, I told Frank to pay for my super chat. I'm wondering how the jail is coming. Love the concept. The jail's coming along great. Jail's going great. So you guys will see an update in the jail. Next week, I'll probably do a live from there because next week we're finishing up rough electrical. We're getting into rough HVAC will be done the end of next week. And then the following week, what starts the next week? Rough plumbing. And they'll be there for a couple of weeks. So by mid-August, we should have all of our rough done. And then it goes pretty quick because then we are insulation, sheetrock, finish. Yep. It's going to go pretty quick. Pretty quick. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I'm so far behind. Sorry. But this is good stuff. So the rent box is a SWOT analysis, basically. No. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. No, it's really much more about, it's really market analysis. It's really kind of like a CMA. It really tells you here's what all is available in your area, in your market. Here's how you grade everything out. So you understand exactly what the value of your asset is. That's really more what it is. I want the most amount of cash flow with the least amount of doors. Aspirational, but the way that happens is time, not strategy. That's not a strategy. Everybody wants that. The strategy that comes from time, because the doing great deals. So here's the funniest thing. Do you know what the best revenue producing asset year 1 through 5 that Dion will have? It's the one he did a burr on that he said he would never do again. So Tracy doesn't want to do those types of projects. And then Tracy, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. That's what I believe you said in the chat. She doesn't want to do those, and that's okay. But I want to do that. I wanted to accelerate. I want cash flow to choke a donkey. That's what I wanted. Yep. And I didn't want to do low margin, no margin deals. I didn't want to just keep on expanding just for the sake of expanding. I didn't care about telling anybody that I had 500 doors. Don't care about that stuff. I have what you're going for, Basilio, is you're going for margin, and margin occurs over time, because you have fixed rate debt that goes like this. And over the time, this is what your rents do. That's what happens. So time is how you get there. The key is recognizing that you might be 5 to 7 years in, you might have an asset that doesn't perform particularly well, and then you sell it. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you failed. That means that you can see better asset or better utilization of that cash. Robert Fairley, go to try again with better pictures and see what happens. Does it have to go up on Tuesday at 4 p.m.? Again, there's no hard and fast rule like it has to be this time. Otherwise, it's a complete and total abject failure. What you're going to get at that 4 p.m. or that 4 to 6 p.m. is you're going to get into people's feeds. You know, if they've selected like some sort of a pre-saved list or some alert me's, that's where you're going to start to hit that stuff is that 4 to 6 time. That's when people are looking. Then it's dinner time, you know, and then maybe after that they're doing it, but that gives you some time. So I like 4 o'clock because it's going to get into some people's feeds. And then those are going to be the early people that quite frankly are usually the most interested because they set up some sort of a search. So it's not do it then, or it's a complete failure. It's guidance on where your best return is going to be. Dylan, do you ever put carpet back in a unit or just add LVP to everything as you replace? We do LVP or hardwood floors. The only place that gets carpet is the stairs, 8-pound pad, and a high Berber carpet or a high Berber. Yeah. High pile. Sorry. Part of my strategy is to start paying off some of the mortgages in 3 to 4 years. Not unless it's expensive debt. You want to pay off 375 or 40 debt when the cost of debt to acquire a new asset is 7. Nope. That's not the best approach. The best approach is to pay off your most expensive debt all the time, but you don't want to get out of growth strategy as soon as you possibly can. You want to stay there as long as you possibly can and continue to acquire great assets because every single one you do gets you smarter, you get better, and you get better and better and better deals. That's where the time commitment comes in. Where is a list of the reviewed products you mentioned in the course? It's on the channel and it's in reviewed products, and I did about a half a dozen in there. We've got some more coming up, but we won't talk about anything that we haven't used unless it's a complete piece of garbage. We won't talk about anything we haven't used for at least a year or two because I don't do this for the money. I do this to help out other landlords so they don't get got with bad product. Let's see. What do you do if a dent in stainless appliance is super noticeable? You either note it and it's on the list of this is something that's in the unit, or you can pay to replace the panel, but I don't recommend that because that's probably $300 to $400. And you can do it if you want to and charge the tenant, but you have to know that they did it. You have to have a picture before saying that it wasn't that way and a picture after saying that, hey, after their tenancy, that's what it looked like. Dan Caruso, that contractor that gave you the bill for $32,000. Yep. Taking the bonuses for long days. Then you had to correct him. Do you give them another chance or are you kind of done with them? Done. Cheat me once, you'll try and cheat me again. Nope. Done. And in fact, not only did I stop using him, 2 other investors stopped using him. That's what happens when you try and rip people off. Tisk. So that cost him, he probably he easily would have done $75,000 to $100,000 with me this last year. Easily. Yeah. Fire and Ice, 97.5% of applicants in my area have a CS, oh my goodness, of less than 600. Smoke, don't have 3x income to rent, or some other major red flag. It's slim pickings out there. In some markets, it certainly is, but that's where we kind of have to dial in and really understand, maybe that's a market not worth being in. Maybe it's a market really worth being in, right? Because if you can put the best product out there, you're going to get that top 10% or 5%, right? And that's what we're always trying to attract. So yeah, I get that. And that's some of the research that you try and understand about a market. So a lot of times you can't find that stuff out, before you do one. You can try, you can talk to other landlords, but that's why your network is your net worth. But it's tough to experience it yourself without doing your first one. But that's where that relationship comes in really important with talking with other landlords. That's where it comes in. So then that's so important. But you could probably still get decent tenants. It's kind of like grading on a curve, right? It's kind of like grading on a curve. It just is what it is. For us and for our area, yeah, kind of 650 and higher. We were 680 for a long time, but we recognized that but we also didn't look at medical. So we would look at medical and say, yeah, well, that was medical. So we don't really count that. Dividend Dave, how's it going, pal? Sorry you're late. I understand. I appreciate you even coming. So no big deal. Appreciate you coming. Dylan McMahon, what type of trim caps do you like to use? It depends on what application. Always use tin backsplash. What's your second favorite? Tile. We'll do tile backsplash too. Solid interior doors. What type of exterior doors do you like? I like the ones. What's the name of them? Geldwens. I think it's Geldwens. I'd have to double check. I think it's Geldwens. They make a Craftsman style exterior door. They make them in 32 and 36. And they're good doors. They're good doors. They're stylish. And usually they go on sale once a year from $500 to like $379 or something like that. So I like those. Gloria Perez, can a homeowner association deny a potential tenant because they don't meet the income criteria because they are a Section 8 tenant, so they are getting a majority of their rent from Section 8? Not unless it's in the bylaws. Nope. They have to look in the bylaws. They might say, and if they're saying that they don't allow Section 8, I'm pretty sure that's housing. I'm pretty sure that's discrimination. Sure. But no, they shouldn't be able to. I would look at the bylaws, and there should be something in there. Just ask them. I need a copy of the HOA bylaws, and then read it and find it, and actually tell them, I'm going to need you to produce that. And if they decide to get difficult, then that's when I actually send them a letter and say, I'd like a response on this. And if I don't get a response on this, I'll be following up with my attorney. Just recognize it's hard to rent in HOAs, and that's why I don't do it. Robert Fernley, year 5 ends in 1 week, and it's still going to suck after a lot. Dude, you're working hard, man. You're making moves. 5 years ago, you owned 0 properties. None. 0. And now you own how many? How many? How many do you own now? Exponentially more than what you did. There's no way to take the suck out of it, and it's going to be hard. Real estate investing is absolutely hard when you're beginning. And that's why so many people stop after a few units. And they're just like, nope, I just can't possibly do anymore. Just can't possibly do anymore. But do the math. Just in 20 years. Just do the math. Look at what the last 20 years has done. Look at what the next 20 years is going to do. Just figure, what did the last 20 years do? What did the next 20 years do? Don't do like a 3-year sampling and then every 3 years. Long, big periods of time. Long, big periods of time. Even the stuff that we all thought was outrageously priced in 2007, a lot of stuff has doubled or tripled since then. The rents have certainly at least doubled in most areas and some tripled again. So just think of it in perspective. You are going and you are running a marathon, not a sprint. And each year is a mile. Each year. I haven't finished my marathon yet. I've been doing this for 23 years. I still haven't finished my marathon yet. And when I get to mile 26, then I'll look around and I'll reassess. Do I like what I'm doing? Do I enjoy it? Have I pulled myself enough out of the business where I can still add and do the fun part of the stuff that I like to do? That's what you get to get. Old REI guy, this is Cynthia. Sorry, I came in late. How's the jail going? Hi, Cynthia. Jail's going well. I'll do a stream from there so you guys can see the progress. It's pretty cool. Terry Ballo, win-win deals. Yes, sir. BuzzTune. Hey, Sam. Trey Better. BuzzTune. Very cool. Both with rentals. Matt, you do realize that word my questions are crafted. You unload on me, right? I do. Dude, sometimes I just need to yell at you. You're going to do it, man. You're doing it. You're absolutely doing it, though. The problems are real. Absolutely. Guys, I told you flat out, I almost went bankrupt 3 times in doing this. I almost went bankrupt 3 times. It was a great financial, great financial crisis. I almost went bankrupt 3 times. It was awful. It was brutal. The first 5 years absolutely suck. They're horrible. But that's where I had to create a bunch of processes and systems that made it suck less and allowed me to expand and grow. Landlord Odyssey, is it okay to post the unit 5 weeks before it's available? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Because this is a major mistake that people have. They post it 2 weeks before it's available. That's stupid. Don't do that. Don't do that. Who is going to rent that place? They have to give notice to their old landlord. Maybe their lease is over and they're saying, yeah, I've already talked to my landlord. He's not going to renew my lease. So he's just letting me go month to month. Okay, maybe, but they still have to give notice. I say he because I just had somebody that just did this. So I get it. Josh Coster, are you doing math on different assets to find the niche? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. Yeah. Bunch of different assets. Mixed use. A single family will never make the list. But how did I know? I ran all the numbers again just to confirm. Okay, yeah, I'm right. These things suck. They don't make money. Duplexes, triplexes, quads. Some of the duplexes are getting so expensive that they don't hit the numbers. Some of them, but it's just because they're way overpriced. Yeah. So, but yes, I'm absolutely doing different. Yes. Yep. I will be buying some different types of assets. I just looked at storage lockers. I'm trying to put a deal together for 140 storage lockers. Trying to put that deal together. Would love to do it. TB99. Think you'll particularly love Matt's boot camp. Yes, I think so. Trade better. Yes. Boot camp is fun. It is fun. You will get more out of the course. The course is great, stands alone, but the boot camp is that turbocharged. Wealth with rentals. I think you can say coming soon. That's only if you're an agent. You have to worry about that stupid stuff. And what you said wasn't stupid. What NAR did was stupid. You can say anything you want so long as you're not discriminating. But you don't have to follow NAR rules. That's a NAR rule. That's an agent rule. That's why I never got my agent degree. There's too many things that they can say, can't do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Guess who's not listening to you? Robert Farinelli, the deal is good, but if you don't know how to do major rehab, it's bad. Is definitely my Keene property. Yeah, I think so. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's always what it comes down to. You don't know what you don't know, but now you've learned, right? You've learned a bunch of things that you didn't necessarily know before. You're doing a major rehab. It's coming together. It's been really difficult. I'm sure a lot of things haven't gone the way that you wanted them to go, but now you have that experience. And I tell you, you're never going to forget it. So now you know how to properly assess that type of an asset the next time you go buying one. That's really important, guys. That's like the most important thing. I was talking to a plasterer today. He gave me a number that blew my doors off. 12 grand. 12 grand to basically reskim coat and replaster a house. Knocked me on. He goes, I thought I scared you. I go, you scared the living daylights out of me. Yeah, that price. I'm not saying you're insane. I'm saying that's 2x what I thought it was going to be. And so I said, can you just explain it to me? He took the time. He was very good. He explained it to me. And I said, when I'm walking a property and I'm looking at it and it's plaster, I need to know what's this thing going to cost me to do the projects that I want to do. I said, I need to know that when I'm walking through. And he said, yeah, so this is kind of how we price. And so he shared his pricing with me. I'd never share it with his competitors, but he shared the pricing with me. And guess what? Now I know. Now I know how much that costs. I guessed it was about $6,000 job. Had I had it to do over again, would I have gone sheetrock? I might have. Only because I asked my buddy, I said, can you just give me a real quick number on this? I said, I'm not going to do it. I just need to know. Because it cost me a couple, $2,000-$3,000 to get all the wallpaper stripped. Then it's cost me $12,000 to get all the plaster redone. Could I have just sheetrocked it and been a whole lot faster? Could I have just sheetrocked it and been on the other side and spent the same amount of money? And then I have sheetrock, which is a better quality product. I think. Plaster is actually kind of awesome, but sheetrock would have been a lot faster. Trade better. Trade better. Hi, Lumberjack. Have you noticed sales prices for small multi prices shot up in your rent? Yes. An updated properly similar to mine is up 30%. Yes. It's almost like I knew it was going to happen 18 months ago. Right? Small multifamily. You guys hear me preach it all the time. Small multifamily. So yeah, absolutely. They're absolutely going up. Yep. Multiple offers, every single one that goes to the market, even the ridiculously overpriced one. There was this absolute toilet in a not very good town, an okay town. And it was 2-3 bedrooms and they were disgusting. Every square inch of that entire apartment has to be changed out. Hoarders, it's gross. Gross. So gross. I saw pictures and my agent goes, "Want to?" And I go, "Nope. No way. Nope." Because the deal's not there. That thing sold for over $400,000. And 5 to 7 years ago, you could have gotten that thing for $200,000. And it was a dump. It was a dump. So anyway, I digress. Well, for rentals, yes, it's a great time on a Thursday. I agree. Boomer 1964. If you do not do the work every day, then it costs you more in time and money and materials. Very much so. Yep. Boomer's exactly right. He's built a lot of properties before. And you got to, be on site, be insight and on site with oversight. Yeah. Big pause. What up, Matt? What up, Big Pause? Good to see you. Come on. Nope, I missed it. Robert Fernelli. Another good thing to know is, are we still expecting 50 to 100 people? You know what? In 48 hours, not across the board anymore. No, not across the board. We've been getting 20. We've been getting, I'd say, 20 to 25 a day. So probably so 50 to 100. So yeah, 50, the low end of the range. It's probably more like a range of 30 to 50 now instead of 50 to 100, but it's also July. It's also July. So that can kind of be the tough thing. Yeah, that can be the tough thing. Let's see. One of my come on, financial freedom journey. One of my tenants asked to fix a rotted deck board in exchange for lower rent. What are your thoughts and experiences? No. Nope. Nah. Because what is the price of that one deck board, right? The deck, I mean, it's just, no, I'd rather have a handyman do it right. Who knows what's their skill? Will they do it right? Are they going to trip and fall? Nope. That's something. Nope. Where I will allow that is my painter. My painter rents from me. One of my biggest painter rents from me. He was like, "Hey, listen," he's like, "this really needs to get done." He's like, "Would you mind if I did it?" I was like, "Nope, not at all." He goes, "You buy materials and I'll paint it and I'll give you a reduced rate or something like that." I did it. Yep. To keep him happy because he's a good guy. He's a good painter. He takes care of the place. I like him. He's generally he's a really good guy. So yeah, happy to do it. Angel R, Defiant Keypad. Yes, sir. I want the offensive live stream. If I wanted a nice live stream, I would listen to Dion. Dion is nice. He is nice. I'm not nice. I'm a jerk. Scott Coleman. I do declare. Is that a Full Metal Jacket? Josh Coster, visiting Indy early in September, going to an REI meetup. What else should I do to get the most benefit of being there in person? Get into the Facebooks now. Get into the Facebook groups now for those things. Learn about other REI meetups. I guarantee in Indy there are many. Learn about them. Go to all of them. While you're there, when you're talking to these people in the groups, learn who, here, let me just get down. There we go. Learn who, in those groups, having the conversations, learn who they use for property management. If they self-manage, if they property manage, ask them the one thing. Hey, what's the one area that you would avoid at all costs? And if you start hitting the same one over and over and over again, don't look there. Jason Calcebetta, yes, I do teach rent box in my course at in-depth. Yep, because that's a core principle is the rent box. Buy box is important, right? But I want to work the process backwards. I want to know everything I need to know about a market before I buy something in that market, because ideally I'm buying something that has under market rents. How do you think I get 20% returns on all my deals? It's because I'm buying, riches are in the niches. I'm buying undervalued assets with well below market rents that with minimal or sometimes medium level work, I can get to market rent in a timely manner, where then that puts me in the 20%. I've got one rental unit right now, one building, the one that I just bought, that makes me maybe $300 a month. It's garbage. It is hot garbage. But when these leases expire, they all expire in the next few months, and they're all going to get the conversation 60 days in advance. In fact, that's what's really interesting. I'm surprised. There's a tenant that I sent a nastygram to today. I told them flat out I wasn't going to be renewing their lease, but I wanted to give them as much time as I possibly could. So please let me know, was what I said. Please let me know what your thoughts are about exiting. I have learned, Landlord Odyssey, I have learned that I really enjoy the renovation process, especially guts. Exactly. Some people really like that stuff. Oh my goodness. What is that? Interesting. Okay. Man, that phone's going off a lot. I forgot to turn it back on after it died. Robert Farinelli, I'm doing a professional photographer now. Good. Cleaning was Wednesday, so I couldn't take pictures. Again, I was very hung up on the face that it had to be Tuesday afternoon or bust. Lesson learned. All good. But here's the thing. You recovered. Professional photographer, cleaned it up, made it really nice. Best foot forward. Those pictures, well worth the investment. You're going to have those pictures for years and years and years to come. Here's what you need to make sure you're doing, though. One of the things that we teach in the course is having that folder for that given asset. So what happens? What does it take for me to bring an asset to market? It's less than 10 minutes. I've already got the ad, or what advertisers call copy. Marketing calls it copy. I already have the ad written. The only thing I have to do is look at a rent box that I've been maintaining and understand exactly what the rents are and what I need to make the rent. Here are the things that are most appealing. Has there been some new piece of construction that really changes the neighborhood, makes it better? Then I put that in there. But I have all the pictures from the from when that tenant took it over, so I might need to spruce it up a little bit. Fine. But what's the key? I am back on market and live in less than 10 minutes. Yep, less than 10 minutes. That is value, right? And you did a great job getting those pictures, getting professional shots done. It's going to look the best that it is. It's going to look the best that it possibly could be. It's best foot forward. And when people are looking at that first picture, when they're comparing you to all the other stuff on Facebook Marketplace, you have pro photos and 85 to 90% of people don't. They are going to look at yours first. That's winning. You curated a better, that is being an operator. You're curating a better experience than your competition because you don't want to be bear meat. So I love that. That's good. Robert Fairley, I used my camera, looks a lot better. Also shaped out light bulbs for 5,000. Yep. Switched out. Yep. Light bulbs for 5K light. That brightens it up. That's exactly right. And you want the reason why the 5,000 works, to our eyes, that is the most like sunlight. There's no adjustment in our eyes that we have to make for 5,000. For the 5,000, that's at the Kelvins. Yeah, 5,000 Kelvin, I think. 6,000, eye adjustment. 4,000, eye adjustment. 3,000, eye strain. Dimmer switches, adjustable LED wafer lights. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Local rentals. How do you find those landlords who are tired and eager to sell? So I think the misnomer, and I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I think the general misnomer is everybody believes that they're just growing on freaking trees. They aren't. They aren't. They absolutely aren't. In New Hampshire, everybody shows, you can see different names, right? So you can see, so I drive for dollars. You can see different names and they appear 3-4 times. All right. What's the likelihood? All right. How long have they owned them? Well, if I look it up and they've owned them for 20, 25, and 30 years, maybe they're ready to get rid of them. Maybe they're not. So I'm doing drive-bys, but I'm looking in the tax book. But when I'm doing a drive-by, I look at that unit and then I go, cool. Do they own anything else? Oh yeah, look at that. They own 2 other things. So, yep, that's how I do it. That's how I do it. Rob, if you ever want to irritate Matt, just mention IKEA cabinets. If you ever want to know what Rob thinks is quality, just mention IKEA cabinets. G Lover. Hey, G Lover. I know it's Glover. Sorry. I was calling him G Lover forever. Terry Ballo. I forgot about the jail. Yeah, jail's going well. Yeah, so it's just a really big project. And so framing and flooring and everything, that took like 6 weeks. Normally that would be like a couple of week process, but we had to frame everything out. So that was 6 weeks. Rough electrical was 3 weeks. Plumbing got delayed. HVAC, I dropped one vendor. One vendor gave me a price. So perfect example. Follow my own advice, right? I got a number. I didn't really love the number. I thought the number was kind of bullshit. So what I did was, I got the number. What was it? I think it was 95,000, 97,000. It was 97,000. No, it was more. No, it was 120. Yeah, it was 100 and, oh my word, it was 160. It was $140 to $150,000. 140 to 150 grand. Okay. That was for heat. That was for heat and cooling for 2 commercial units and 6 resi units. It was $140,000. I think it was more. I think it was like 145. Went through it and I didn't love the number. I just like, nope. I think that number is just way too high. I think it's just way too high. I spent a week. This is why you guys haven't gotten email messages back. I spent a week. I called a bunch of different places. I explained to them the project. I sent them the plans. I said, let me know if this is something you'd be interested in. Please let me know. Few people got back to me. Yeah, that'd be something we'd be willing to quote. They looked at it. I got one for 125. I got one for about 118. I was like, okay, so the 140 was high. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try a smaller company, not a bigger company. I'm going to try a smaller company. I'm going to talk to them about it. Let's go through it. So we do. We sit down. We go through it. 96,000, 94,000, $94,000. And I'm getting better units. $94,000. I'm getting better units. Now, lesson learned. Yup. I saved $50,000. And $50,000 to anybody is a lot of money because a penny saved is a penny earned. I saved 50 grand. 50 grand. That's real money. That actually pays for some other stuff. $50,000. What's the rule? 3 quotes. Doesn't matter how good you are at this, how great of an operator you are at this. 3 quotes. Still 3 quotes. I got 3 numbers for electrical. It was, 94,000, 110, and 126 or something. 126, 119, something like that. Again, $20,000. I will save 6 figures Yeah, I'll save close to $200,000 based on the proposals that I got, asking the right questions, picking the right products. I will save $200,000 on this project, 20%. I will save 20% on this project and end up with better product, good relationships, and quality brands. So 3 quotes, guys. 3 quotes. Robert Fairley, in your course, what I remember is the very minor details. I'm very good at losing the forest through the trees. Engineer. But you've done an amazing job at some of those details, and that's gotten your game better. That's a good thing. What's the ideal first door? It's a duplex. It's a duplex, triplex, or a quadplex. Ideally, it's a house hack door. If you can't house hack, it's a small multifamily, 2, 3, or 4. What you have to do is you have to do the studying. How much money per door? What's the variation of rents? Those are the things that you have to be counting. That's what's important in the rent box. When you find that you're going single family to single family, obviously that's easier to compare. But if you're comparing a fourplex to a duplex, but the fourplex is all in one building and it's 2 top and bottoms instead of like 4 brickstones or something, that's a big difference. That's a big difference. So you have to be able to account for that, right? Because I don't want somebody living on top of me either. I get it. It's generally less desirable until you do my program, and not the course, but until you do what I do, which is I make sure that I put up a bunch of different things to make that noise travel as little as possible. Travel as little as possible. And you don't do one thing across the entire apartment and not test it. Do one room, then have that thing blasting up there, close the doors, have a stereo blasting up there. You want to know exactly how loud it is so you can't hear anything on the other side. That's a key. Yeah. Josh Coster, do you ever go to other people's rentals in person? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I do. Yep. I go to other investors, friends of mine. I go to stuff for sale all the time. So yeah, I go to other people's units for sure. Landlord Odyssey, if there's 4 roommates and one of them is unemployed, but the other 3 incomes are 3x, would you take those tenants? Yep. I would explain to them this. Hey guys, when you sign this lease, it's joint and several liability. What that means is if he continues to not pay, you guys are on the hook to pay at the beginning of every month. If he's not paying, if he didn't pay you guys, that's your issue, not my issue. I make sure that they know that. If they know that and they're still willing to sign a lease, that's on them. That's on them. Tracy, yeah, and over. That's Master Coach University. Hey, Master Coach. Happy to report that thanks to Lumberjack's teaching, I just doubled my property management fee. I charge to our family portfolio. The family portfolio is up $18,000 a month rent. So confidence is high. Yeah. Yep. I was only charging $500 a month and now at $1,000. Fantastic. Congratulations. Just people printing money over here. That's what we do here. Lumberjack Landlord, printing money. Let's see. Yeah, over time you get better. Yep. Yeah, Tracy. Yeah, over time you get better at getting deals. So I agree. Sell off anything not good anymore. See, but not good is on a curve. My deal that I'm selling off is going to be that guy's top performing deal in his entire portfolio. So I'm not getting rid of something that doesn't make money, doesn't pay me. I'm not getting rid of something bad. I'm just getting rid of one of the things that combination of things. One has a ton of equity in it that now I can unlock. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity are in that one property. Now I can unlock it. Number one. Number two is it is an asset that is in an area where he has assets where I know he wants to expand. So it made it a good asset to say, it makes sense to get rid of this one and bolster somebody else's portfolio with an asset where he already has other assets. And number three was on this particular asset, this kind of gets us out of that particular area or on that street. And that for us, that was a win for us. That was a win for us. So I think it's good. I think it's really good. And if something, for some reason, if the deal doesn't go through, that's okay. You know, if for some reason that deal doesn't go through, I might even just keep it, because I think I just placed a tenant there for $3,100 a month, which actually covers his entire mortgage and taxes. So I can rent out that other unit pretty easily. Yeah. So we'll see. HOA Prez depends on the state. Check with a competent HOA attorney. Yes, absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying. Usually what you'll find, and again, this is, you still double check it, but back to the HOA thing, likely they had their docs drafted by an attorney. They're likely not to put something in there that's illegal. So if it is in there, you have to understand, is there a way to actually challenge it? Because there might not be a way to challenge it. But in all likelihood, in most states, except for California, it's probably going to have a tough time, because it's probably going to, hurt people. Robert, you were wrong, Matt. Real estate investing is not a marathon. It's an Appalachian trail through hike. Yes. That's a lot longer than a marathon. Neil, what about single family with midterm rentals? Yeah, so I think so, but I just don't love midterm rentals. I did it for a while. I didn't love the returns. I mean, I thought the returns were decent, but they weren't that much better than market, as far as like a long-term lease. And I found that it was still a job. It was still a job. You were more having to do, and when you have a bigger portfolio, you are doing everything you can to reduce the amount of drag that you have in acquiring assets and managing them, because you want margin on those deals. And midterms, because of all the extra work that goes in compared to a long-term rental, that was my experience. It was 3 times the phone calls. And it was the same asset that I had a long-term person living in next door. Long-term person living next door, they might have made 3 phone calls in a year. And the same people living next door, it was 2 a month. It's like, dude. So yeah, hard pass for me. But in markets, but that's absolutely something you should be looking at. Before I would change markets, I would look and see, does midterm work? I would also look to see, is there a ton of Airbnb in that area that's short term? Is it legal? Is it not legal? If it's not legal, then you have to be worried about the fact that when they start cracking down, like in Vegas, 98% of the Airbnbs in Las Vegas were illegal. 98% were illegal. 98%. In a lot of places, some of them make you get licenses. Some of them just flat out, they allow it. Some of them, it's just it's power left to the unsaid word. So that's what really ranges. But yeah, for me, I don't want more of a job. I want more assets with maybe lower margin that are a lot less effort. Because that goes down to the thing that I was talking about earlier, where, the amount of time that somebody spends, if they did to do all the work with the Airbnbs and blah, 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 blah. Again, is it illegal? As the economy suffers, people are taking less vacations. It's all of that stuff. So short-term Airbnb, not for me. I have a buddy of mine who does Airbnb. He said, you know what? In the summer, it's really good. And then we hit October and it sucks. He's like, and he only has to rent out for, I think, like 6 days in a month. And he goes, between November and March, we actually have a few months that don't hit that number of days. That kind of sucks. So yeah, midterm rentals can absolutely be a strategy. Not one for me, because I don't want to get that involved. Mark, Coke, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen your name before. Bought a mobile home park that is cash flowing very well. I love mobile home parks. Love them. Love them. Do you know that cities hate them? So cities always try and get rid of them. But man, I do love a mobile home park. I'm envious, Mark, because I would love to buy a mobile home park. Went down the path a couple times, couldn't put the deal together because we don't have a ton of them here. And the ones that we do have here are generational owners. But maybe someday, I'm hoping. Terry Ballew, same here in Atlanta, Georgia. The 2 to 4 units dwellings are overpriced. Cash flows are not good overall. Yeah, and that's the thing is people found that inefficiency in the system and then started absolutely pounding it. And just like, okay, so then all those went through the roof. They all went up. Rents went up, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, got crazy for sure. Robert Fiorelli, I don't enjoy real estate investing, but I know how numbers work and real estate numbers don't lie compared to a 401k. True. Neil, penny saved is more than a penny earned pre-tax. That's true. Robert Farinelli, the only thing I hate about 5K, the 5K lights is they ruin your body's natural sleep cycle if you use them at night, but doesn't affect me if I in a rental. So yeah, there's certainly studies that say that. Dimmer switch, that's where I go. Because those dimmable wafer lights with the dimmer switch, ooh, yeah, I like those. That's what I have pretty much everywhere. I keep on looking up. Is that what I have in here? Yeah, that's what I have in here. Yup. Yes, indeed. Master Coach, I'm so excited for you, man. That's awesome. Look at that. 18,000 a month. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's so good. All right. Any other questions? Couple minutes left. Thoughts on tiny homes? Mark, I'm trying to build an entire development of them. Love them. Love them. But I don't want to do them in wood. I want to do them in 3D printing. Yep. I've been researching 3D printing for about 2.5 years. Because I can't beat builders at their own game. I need to beat them with new technology. So I've gone down the path, try to buy a machine, try to get them approved. I need to get them approved by the state first, make sure the state's going to allow them. I've tried modular homes, not mobile, modular. Tried modular homes. I'm waiting for a verdict from one of the towns. I've got land to build them on. One project, it can take a duplex, triplex, quadplex. So yeah, have for myself. Incredible Tiny Homes is my builder. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So what I want to do, so they do more, correct me if I'm wrong, but they do more like build it, ship it on site, and then you put it on a pad, right? And please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there's a lot of tiny home companies out there, and I think that's one of the ways they do it. But correct me if I'm wrong. But I love tiny homes. Love them. I just don't want to stick building myself. I'm not sure what market you're in, Mark, but in our market with such abusive winters, ideally I'd like to buy them in Canada and have them shipped across the border on wheels. Yeah. Yeah. So where we are, they won't allow those. They'll only allow those in a mobile home park. And it's different in what you're allowed to do. East Tennessee. Okay. Yeah. I love it though. I love it. You know, Autumn, Queen Double Wide, friend of mine. I think she's absolutely a rock star. You can look her up on Instagram, but she buys and she gets mobile homes for like $5,000 and then just pays to move them onto land that she owns. So she owns a few trailer parks. Love the model, love the strategy. Here, it's really hard to do because of how all the fees work. But yeah, I want to do mobile home. I want to do tiny homes. Modular homes is actually my preference because even the mobile home really expensive. All in for 21K and rent for 980. Yeah, see, exactly. Like that just prints, right? Like that prints. That's awesome. Yeah, we can do, I want to do, they just have different rules here around what's allowed like that. If it's on wheels, they're like, nope, nope, it has to be a modular home. So that's where I'm trying to find somebody that could do that to basically build it without it being on a trailer, actually being on a frame, then able to be lifted up and then just dropped on a pad. That's what I'm looking for. Because if I can get that done, then now we're talking. Because I believe, so we just had a tiny home development put up where we are. They're 750 square foot homes. They still cost over $200,000 each to build. So it's still super expensive. Still super expensive. So yeah, guys, as always, such a pleasure hanging out with you guys. We went a couple hours tonight. I wanted to go a little bit extra time with you. For all those of you who were waiting for a message back from me, I apologize. I appreciate you guys' patience with me. It was crazy, 8x16. So you're talking, yeah, those are tiny. Ooh, yeah, those are tiny. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah. Yeah, that's really tiny. Holy crap. That's tiny. I want to go a little bit bigger than that tiny. Yeah, I want to go a little bit bigger. But I do like that. I do like that. Tracy, do you always do year leases? I'm switching to a month to month. Yep, I do year leases, but that differs based on market. So for me in my market, I don't want anybody leaving in November, December, January, February, or March. I don't want people leaving those 5 months. It's impossible to re-rent. Impossible. You almost always get a bad tenant. 50-50 coin flip. Almost always they're bad tenants. Almost always. So 89%, 85% of our leases expire May, June, July, and August. Because that's when I want to be doing showings. That's when I want to be doing turnovers. That's when I want to be doing repairs. And so we're busy in the summer months, but then the winter months, we've gotten away from all the emergency rental assistance tenants. We've gotten away from a lot of winter people and winter rental people doing those moves in. So, now outside of those, we have maybe a dozen leases that expire in those winter months. And when we renew them, we always, to either take away a month or add a month to get us closer to spring or fall. And so it'll be another year or two, and we should have everything in those 4 months. And then my system will work exactly as I want it to, which is anytime we're doing a turnover, it's warm weather, May, June, July, August, or it's going to be an eviction. And that's fine. Evictions happen. But our eviction rate has slowed way down. We had 2 inherited tenants, 2 inherited tenants that were just pure garbage and they lost. And then 1 tenant that we placed, but then she had her voucher yanked 30 days after she moved in. And that ended up costing me about $20,000, which sucked. And I remind the housing department every single time I talk to them about it. Hey, yeah, you did that. You did that. He rose on the 3rd day. I like that. I'm thinking of selling my primary, but it's at 3%, 30-year fixed. I want to move into a multifamily. Should I? Not nearly enough information to give you guidance. Not nearly enough. Financial position, job, how much money you make. Like there's a million things. What area you're in? Is that the area you want to be in forever? Like a million questions. I could do literally a 45-minute show about it. But one of the things that, generally speaking, if you want to go a different direction, it's really just about understanding what the other direction is, number one, and then number two, working the math backwards. It's impossible to say, but at the same time too, excuse me, if you know that you're not going to be in that house forever, it depends on what other thing might be happening in your life that makes you want to actually get into a different asset. That's what differs, right? That's what changes everything. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but that's what I would look at. Those are the things that I would start to explore. Is you got to know where you're going. But that's one of the things that I would be looking at. Hey, Jerry Oaksmith. Good evening to you. Jerry, you're here just in time for me to sign off. Went 2 hours. It was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time with a lot of great people. But yeah, 9 to 10:30 typically is going to be our time on Thursdays. Be there, be square. But yeah, come hang out with me. Spend some time. Let's talk about stuff. If you guys aren't in the Section 8 Landlords group on Facebook, please go and Dean McDermott, I think is his name, or Dean something, I think is the administrator of that one. Go look it up. There's a lot of horrible advice out there, and I want you guys to participate, share your experiences, because there's just some real losers in that group, and there's some people that really need help. And if we know better and have a different experience, it's important for us to weigh in and share that with them. I exposed one guy who sells a course, and he and his wife came after me hard. Then I reported them, and their 70 messages got deleted. And I was just absolutely toe to toe with the two of them. I mean, it was just a bloodbath for them. But the guy's a total tool. And he was wrong. He was giving bad advice. Like, show me where. I was like, I just showed you where. I just commented on your bad advice. And of course, he won't share the number of rentals he has. And he buys in a place where, Mark's properties look expensive. Like, come on, consider the source, guys. Consider the source. But get in that Facebook group because we can be helping people. We want to be helping people. That's what we need to do. So, Jackie, thank you. Great content. Good night. Or great content tonight. Jackie, isn't it always good content? Kind of hurt my feelings, but I'll get over it. Guys, have a fantastic week. Have just an awesome week. You'll see me do a I'll do a stream sometime next few days, probably next week. I'll do a stream from the jail so you guys can see it and get an update. But yeah, awesome time hanging out with you. More to come. I'll keep you updated on the sale of these two, and when we bring the other ones to market, I'll actually show it to you guys so you guys can see what this thing looks like. Neil, great week. Guys, have a fantastic week. Thanks again so much for coming and hanging out. Congratulations, Master Coach University, for those amazing numbers. Congratulations. Chester, congratulations on getting that next step done. I know it's big for you, and that's awesome. And Robert Farinelli, you're being called to the principal's office. Send me your rent box. I want to see it. We need to make some changes and get you to get a win. So let's go. Send me that rent box. And like I said, I'll do my best to get through messages over the next few days. I appreciate you guys. I love the community. And without you guys, it'd just be me talking to a camera. So I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your week and take care. Bye.